Welcome to Hand in Hand Self-Guided Video Course, Building a Listening Partnership. I'm Patty Wipfler. I'm the founder and the program director at Hand in Hand Parenting. And we want to bring you a tool for building good support for your work as a parent. We want to help you deliver your love to your child by showing you how to build a personal support network that involves an exchange of listening time, so that your mind, with all the information that you have and all the thoughts that you have and all the feelings that collect around parenting, has the benefit of listening time so that you can really look at your experience, evaluate your experience and feel your experience with the assistance of someone else who won't advise you, who isn't an expert in your life, but who will assist you. I've found this kind of a listening exchange to be a huge benefit to myself as a parent, and that's why I'm here bringing you this information. I hope that you'll read our Listening Partnerships booklet as you start this course, and I hope you'll hand it to whoever it is that you choose to experiment with listening partnerships with, so that they have some idea of the ideas around listening we're going on here. Although they're simple, it's really good to be informed. And I hope you'll read the booklet again after a couple months and again a couple months later as you gather experience in your listening partnership, because your ability to absorb the information in the booklet will change as you learn things, as you have experience doing this listening exchange. So read the booklet and read it again. I'm really hoping that the video classes and the clips of listening time between parents, both audio and video, will be really interesting to you, will be informative to you, but don't expect that the experiences you see and hear about will be exactly what's going to happen in your listening partnership. Watch them, think about them, and throw that picture of how things are away so that you can really value your own experience with your own listening partner. You are highly interesting and unique individuals, so what you talk about and how it goes for you is going to be different than what you see here on the screen. But what you see here on the screen will inform your experience there, I hope. So enjoy. Thank you for having the courage to decide to take this on, to decide to venture into something that not very many people know how to do yet. I think you're part of the cutting edge of parenting. You're part of an understanding that parents need and deserve and benefit greatly from support in order to love their children well. And I really hope that your courage will pay off in happier times in your family and a much stronger sense of the power of your own love and the power of your own good thinking. So here we go. So I want to talk just about the first very simple ideas that we're going on here. And in this class, I'm going to go back and forth between the ideas we're working with and the observations we're working with and what to do to start a listening partnership. So we're going to kind of go back and forth between, the perspective that we're using and the practicalities of building good emotional support for the work you do as a mom and the work you do as a dad. So right now, the first two ideas we'll be working with are, first of all, human beings need connection. We are born for connection. We are born to be in here with each other. We are a highly social creature. We have an elegant mind, much of which is devoted to our social and emotional interactions with others. We are designed to be able to have complex, close, intimate, caring relationships with one another, and that's what makes us feel the best about ourselves. That's what really gives deep meaning to our lives, is the connections that we have, the relationships we build, the learning we do from one another up close and personal. And connection allows us to think at our very best. It's like when we feel safe and cherished and connected, our behavior is at its most flexible, our minds are at their most inclusive. We can play with ideas and look at alternatives and have creative new thoughts about ways to solve problems when we feel supported, close, connected, seen, appreciated, loved, respected, There are lots of facets to this diamond of connection, and there's lots of ways to describe what it feels like inside, but you know it. You know it. You know what it's like to feel loved by someone all the way. You also know what it's like to feel disconnected, to feel disrespected, and you know which you prefer. We all prefer this, nice meshing of intelligences that lets everybody think for themselves, but lets people share with excitement and pleasure, their ideas and their picture of the world and what we can do to figure out how to meet the challenges in our lives. So we're born to be in close with one another. We're born to be in good communication. And when we are in good communication, we are connected, that's when our minds work the best. When you pay attention to connection first, what happens is that the limbic system gets the sense of being in a flexibly communicative relationship with someone else, and it settles, it relaxes. And when the limbic system, our social and emotional center, it's a very complex part of the brain. I'm not a brain scientist, I'm not going to try to explain it to you, but I do know that it is a large part of who we are, and it's the part that really reads other people's body language. It understands what's going on inside of somebody based on their tone of voice, the way they're walking, the light in their eyes, how much fluidity there is to their facial expression. All of these things tell us how somebody is. And they tell us whether someone can pay attention, whether they are truly in communication with us, or whether they're pretending to listen by putting their eyeballs on our eyeballs and running their shopping list in the back of their mind. You can really tell the difference. That's your limbic system that can tell the difference. It can tell whether someone regards you with respect. They don't have to say anything. It can tell you whether someone is lighthearted or whether someone is downcast and has their attention on difficult feelings at the moment. That's your limbic system. And it doesn't take more than half a second for you to know how someone else is. You may not know the details of why, but you can tell how they are. So, limbic system at work. When the limbic system, which is kind of like a radar, gets positive messages and open, connective, willing to be in contingent communication, willing to be in flexible communication with you, those are the messages it gets. Then it can light up the learning centers of the brain, the cortical centers of the brain, in particular the prefrontal cortex, where the highest of human faculties is developed and sits. So right behind our forehead here is where our attention span is determined. It's where our judgment forms over time. It's where our impulse control sits. It's where our short-term, actually I'm not sure where the short-term memory sits, it may not be here, but if the prefrontal cortex is not lit up by a happy limbic system, a connected sense of how things are, you can't remember where your keys are, you can't remember a phone number that you've known half your life. When you're upset, disturbed, scared, angry, your short-term memory just goes boop, and you can't find anything. You don't know where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to be doing. So right here, this is where we reason, this is where we do our finest problem solving. This is where flexible behavior comes from. This is where, oh, you can't do it tonight? Okay, well, let's figure out when you can, rather than, what's the matter? Don't you think I'm important? Why can't you do it tonight? Two really different responses to the same sentence from someone that we know. And one response is, yeah, I know we're in connection. Okay, we can figure this out. And the other response comes from hurt feelings. It comes from an upset that has gotten triggered because, times are stressful. And when we're stressed, upsets get triggered easily. So what we're looking for is ways to increase increase the number of times that we feel connected and increase the number of hours that we can kind of keep that sense of connection going inside ourselves, so that we are good problem solvers, so that we can perceive what's going on inside of other people accurately and well, rather than being roiled by our own troubles, so that we have patience for our children, so that the unexpected things they do don't knock us off our path through the day. So we'll have more on how our minds perceive connection and why we're so focused on it in building support for parenting in the next segment.